Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, sushidragonmasters, and I'm doing another top 5 video because I'm doing my top 5 standalones of 2015. Now, these books didn't necessarily come out in 2015, but I read them in 2015. Actually, none of them came out in 2015, but I read them in 2015, so that's why they count. So let's get started. So at number 5, it's technically the first book of a companion series, but it can be read like a standalone. So in my mind, it counts. And that is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. This basically just follows a girl named Anna who goes to a boarding school in Paris, and she meets a boy, and things happen. And I am currently still rereading this. I'm rereading it very slowly because I'm reading other things at the same time, so this really isn't my main focus at the moment. But I will finish rereading it soon. And also, originally, I just thought this was a 3 out of 5 book. Like, I didn't love it, didn't hate it, it was okay, it was cool, it was fun at the time. But actually, in this book, her and all her friends go to see the movie It Happened one night. And, of course, my mom knew immediately what that movie was, so she was like, okay, now you have to see it. And then I watched the movie, and then the book just seemed so much better to me, so now it's a 4 out of 5 book to me. So I highly recommend watching that movie if you've read this book, because it mirrors the book almost. Like, not exactly, but the storyline of the movie is very similar to the storyline of the book. So it just makes sense to me now why they watched that movie. At number 4, I have Just Listen by Sarah Dessen. And this was the first Sarah Dessen book I ever read, and I enjoyed it a lot. I gave it a 4 out of 5. And this is basically about a girl named Annabelle. I've only read 2 Sarah Dessen books, but I always forget her characters' names. Except the boys. I remember the boys, but I don't remember the girls' names. Basically, it's about Annabelle, and she had just had something happen to her that's really affecting her, and she lost all her friends, and then she meets a boy, of course, and the story kind of goes from there. But it was a lot different from most contemporaries I read because it had a message to it, and I teared up a little bit. I really enjoyed this. At number 3, I have Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. This was the first contemporary I read this year that I loved. And again, I gave it a 4 out of 5 because I'm weird with contemporaries, and I like if this was a fantasy, it would have been a 5 out of 5, but since it's a contemporary, I gave it a 4. Don't know why, but I'm just like that, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of hard on contemporaries. But this one was very good. This follows Amy and Roger as they go on an epic detour. And there's pictures throughout the book. I just found one and then I lost it. No. Oh, I like this part. When this was for when they were going on this hike where you had to write haikus as you went, and they were just talking to each other in haikus, and it was funny. But there's reason for the pictures, because she's bringing a travel book with her that her mom had given her, and she's filling it with different things that they have throughout their trip. Like, she writes down different playlists of what they've listened to, and she has receipts from when they went to go buy food and stuff. was so cool and I loved it. Number 2, I have The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. This is a fantasy standalone. It's not like intense fantasy, it's very light on the fantasy, but it is fantasy. This is also like the only non-contemporary on the list. But basically we follow Sean and Puck as they enter the Scorpio races. But they both enter for different reasons, and they both want the other to win because they both think each other's reasons are valid and good. And basically what I mean by that is that Puck wants Sean to win because she likes Sean's reason more than hers, and Sean wants Puck to win because he likes her reason more than his. Almost. I mean, they both like want to win for their own reasons, but then they also want to win. They also want each other to win. Is this making any sense? I don't feel like I'm explaining this right. But basically there is a little bit of romance in there, but it's in there very well. It's weaved in. It's not just like, boom, here's a big romance scene, and now back to the story. It's more like, okay, now we're practicing for the race together, so we're just going to have a little moment as we're riding our horses. Or we're observing our competition because we need to know their weaknesses, but let's do it together so that we can have moments while also moving the story along. So yeah, I highly recommend this one. It also takes place in Ireland. Well, technically not in Ireland. Ireland takes place in a fictional island off the coast of Ireland, but it's still Ireland to me. Then at number 1 on my list, I have a guinea pig. Actually, I don't have the book. It's A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. I love it so much. And please don't yell at me for how I'm holding my guinea pig. She doesn't like being held like this. She prefers to be held like this. She's also pretty chill with this. She just likes being parallel to the ground. But basically, A Walk to Remember is just a really cute and sad romance, and I love it so much, and I highly recommend it. So that was my top 5 standalones of 2015, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!